I love this sneak.
It's unbelievable. It's so cool.
Do you guys have that? What do you call this?
We don't have this. I've seen it. I know, like, I saw like a clip of Kurt Warner running it with the Rams, like way
Yeah.
back, and it's so cool. Like, I think it would certainly make a lot of sense because we do run a lot of like heavy G lead where we're pulling the guards. Um, yeah, I would certainly love to do this. A lot of us, like what we saw last year, was more of like a bare front defense where it wasn't like, an A gap team like this where they're cued into the guards. So I mean, certainly, like, we'll remember this if we see like a team where they want to stun out and keep you from running. Like I said, like your pin and pull stuff down here on the goal line, which is what they're trying to resemble. And we certainly got a guy that could do it. But it's one of those plays that looks really cool. And when it doesn't work, you feel dumb. When it works, you look awesome, and they look awesome right here. We'd certainly love to add that to our repertoire here.
Now, Minnesota was actually #1 in the nation on fourth down last year, 10 of 11.
Yeah,
And
11
they,
attempts though. That's less than half.
yeah, you guys were 20-25, but they pulled out. I got to give it. They pulled out the fake tush push because they'd run the tush push several times,
Mm-hmm.
and then they pull out. I guess you
it's
just
sweet.
call that a fake tush push.
No, it's awesome. We ran a fake sneak dump to Bramer against Arkansas State that wasn't on the goal line like this, but I watched like Texas ran a bunch of fake ones. Obviously, Philly, has made
Yeah.
this play famous in the fake tush pushes. I'm in on all of the like crazy fake sneak, dump, handoff, madness. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is sweet. This was Alamo Bowl. I think we
That's
called this
Brock.
banana. Yeah. This is young Brock. This freshman Brock. Yeah, we're faking Q counter with like David Montgomery's pretending to lead out here, sneaking him out the back door. And Shieldhouse came up with this play this week. And I mean, one of those plays that very rarely do you feel like it works exactly how you want it to, and this one did, and it's great
Oh,
anticipation by Brock and great catch by David. So yeah, just an awesome play.
I think my favorite play, and this has got to come in here. Where is this? This was last year Niners. Is this it? Let's see. Yeah, Niners Cowboys. Broken play.
Yeah, this is
Brock,
that's the best.
kind of like the fake bubble is sniffed out, and so Brock just takes it. But like this could be a real play, right? Do you think? Could you run this?
Yeah, like I mean, with the way that at 64, I'm not sure which alignment he was like gets
Yeah,
out.
this is center.
It certainly looks like they're popping the center out to block for it. Like, but yeah, it certainly could be like a field pressure. You throw the screen out, the T screen out to the field, and if he takes it, like you got Q. I mean, it's cool. But like that's the crazy thing about Brock. Like if you watch his first ever start against Oklahoma State in 2018, like he had a keep where he faked the bubble, which it was just a called handoff, but he pulled it, faked the like motion guy, which was a dummy. The guy bit on it and he ran and scored like just like this. Like he has the ability to improv things that's on such an elite and special level. Like he does things you can't coach.
I got Niner fit. People will. A lot of people have a good memory for this, so people will tell me. I have a vague memory now that I play this of Brock saying post game that was not what was supposed to happen, but people will remind me. But either way, it's a great
It
play.
is. And that's what's like those guys make coaches look better. Like when you have guys that can improv and do things like this, like it makes you feel better. Like we made a huge deal on scramble drill this last year, and Rocco was so good at it. And I mean, it won us games just in 2-minute situations.
You guys won a lot of close games. You guys won like what 4 3-point or less games this year, I think.
Yeah, I got no hair left.
This was one everybody like the Niners ran this, right? Like the tight end delay.
Yeah, directly from them in that game. And they pulled, I think, the backside guard with it to try to get the mic out. And we didn't, just to try to protect it a little bit more because we were more worried about field pressure. But yeah, this was literally taken from that Kittle touchdown that Brock and the Niners ran.
Was that maybe the Niners ran against Seattle? People,
I think it was Brock's one of those first couple of starts that he had, and it's such a cool play when it works and it hits. And this one was 3rd and long or something, so your call sheet shrinks and you're like, oh, but at least you feel like we had a one-on-one with our tight end and would have a chance to get somewhere down there, but directly stolen from the Niners.
How about this throw?
It's unbelievable.
You know what I love about this throw is when you see there's another replay where you can see the shadow of the ball over McCaffrey's head, just hanging in the air.
Yeah. And just like the anticipation of when it comes out. He's not even at the line of scrimmage yet. And like just understanding where he's at in the route and the anticipation and the ball placement and how that guy's going to catch the ball. Like with a guy, and I didn't even see that there was an unblocked 3 technique in the backfield. Yeah, like that guy's he's Brock's bold, man. He's fearless.
I love this one too.
Yeah, this play's sweet. We scored on this play in the Big 12 the Big 12 championship game or the Fiesta Bowl in that 2020 season. We threw like that shallow from the outside, and it's a great I mean,
What is it? What do you call it?
we call this fire. We call it fire. And if we could throw the corner, if it's man, cool. If not, like you're reading it low to high, and you can take the shallow right now from the outside in. We threw it to Kolar, but yeah, it's a great route by Kittle. Great anticipation, good ball placement. Great job by Kittle squaring it up. I love that guy, man. I don't care if he went to the other team. Like that guy's just
Have you spent any time with him?
No, I haven't, but I would love to. Like I got a big time man crush on that guy.
You hear about throwing with anticipation. But when you really watch it, and I think Brock's a great example, I'm just always amazed at the guts that it takes to actually throw, like what throwing with anticipation means. Like where the receiver is when you are loading up the ball. Like for those of you listening on the podcast, I've got Brock is about to pull the ball back. And like Ayuk is not even, I mean, he has just begun his break and there's 2 defenders staring right at him. This part of football never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's insane, just the vision and the big vision to understand and anticipate where people are going to go and how 4 different people on the defense are moving in directions that won't interfere with the window. Like I can barely throw Coke to the assistant coach across our offensive staff room without it being a disaster. And it is mind blowing, and the vision and I mean just the preparation that it takes to understand it too. And so much of it, is pre-snap and understanding it to play. We call it accelerated vision here, but Brock has that as good as anybody.
The Niners didn't draft an Iowa State player, and nobody's more disappointed than Taylor Mauser, the Iowa State offensive coordinator, because he has to be one of the biggest 49ers fans in all of college football. He's here today wearing a 262 hat. He was at the Super Bowl in Vegas. He was at the NFC Championship game in Philly in 2023 wearing a Brock Purdy jersey. And it's great to see him. So what's up, man? You wearing the 262 around the office, I see.
Yeah, I'm always repping BP. I got my Brock bobblehead up here. So however I can showcase Brock and our players here in general is always something I like to do. So yeah, big fan of the hat and big fan of Brock, and been a fan of his going back to high school.
Can you believe the Niners didn't draft Jaden Higgins or Jalen Noel?
I can't. I really wanted them to, just because I know what they're about and who they are and what the Niners are about. And it would have been certainly awesome to be able to go watch those 2 play together. But yeah, disappointing. But they're in good spots, and Brock's in a great spot. So those guys still find a way to win away from Iowa State.
All right, you guys were awesome on offense last year. I got to see you at Arrowhead Stadium when you played Kansas. First double-digit winning season in program history. Obviously, Matt Campbell, the head coach you've been with since his days at Toledo, is just one of the best in the business. It's your 10th year on staff. You're going to your 2nd year as an offensive coordinator. I think if we told sports fans you can have like any job, I think number 1 would be like GM. People love drafting. And number 2 would probably be offensive coordinator. People love play calling.
Yeah.
So like, can you explain to all of us who sit on the couch, you grinded for a decade plus before you became an offensive coordinator. What is something about calling plays that you think people don't know? Like you can't possibly know until you're wearing the headset and you're in that seat or on that sideline.
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the least like enjoyable positions that I've had like in game since I've been with Coach Campbell. I'm sure there's people that like think it's the funnest thing ever. Like I had way more fun and enjoyed the game a lot more when I was just the tight ends coach. And I think people don't realize like how fast the game moves when you're calling plays, and you don't get to watch nearly as much of the game. Like you spend the whole game looking at, a piece of paper and looking down and having your hands on different plays and highlighting things and dotting things. Like I don't know how anybody can call a play on the field. Like if I wasn't up in that box with Scotch tape and Sharpies and markers and a whole thing, like I couldn't do it. So the game, it goes a lot faster up there than people think probably. And it's easy, you know, hindsight 2020 is all the time, and everybody has that on their couch. And even I do as a fan watching it. Like I watch all those Battle Hawk games now. We got a lot of Iowa State guys playing it, and just go back and you watch football in general, even our plays in general, and you're like, what was I thinking? Or, you know, what's so and so thinking? So
Interesting.
it could be hard when you're on the other side for sure. This is like my call sheet from the Big 12 championship game. Like, see like the highlighters and like the nonsense written on this thing.
Okay, so this is your play sheet from
The
I see.
Big 12 championship game. Yeah.
So what are we looking at here?
So the top of it's all first and second down, but at least my process as a play caller was if we ran it, I put like a dot next to it, like a little with my pen, and then I highlight it in the first half with a pink Sharpie of like place to get to. And then the second half I highlight it with a different color, yellow or blue, whatever it is. And those are to get to second half plays. So you could double highlight some stuff so it looks like your kids kind of scribble crazy gibberish all over it a little bit. But it's kind of just something that's evolved over the years of Coach Cam. Like we used to have one that was formations, and this is what the formation was and looked like and how we could play out of it. And we don't really play out of formations anymore. So this is all categorized by like play family, you know, what kind of play it is and how and what, because it's easier for me to find it that way. And we're all on a wristband. So
yeah,
it's got like the wristband number on it, and it's got, you know, and we switch it up a little bit, you know, week to week, but the bottom half of it's all situational stuff. Like there's my middle of the field section I was talking to you about earlier down here, where if you get in the middle of the field, like we can call this and won't be a disaster.
What was more painful, sitting at the Super Bowl in Vegas or in Philadelphia at the NFC Championship game?
Well, I talked to Brock's parents before the Philly game, and they weren't going because they just heard that the Philly fans were so crazy. And in my head, I'm like, Philly, whatever. So I had my Brock stuff on, and some of their coaches. We get there, and we got borderline assaulted for 6 hours. Like people running up to me, fake punch, like you're going to be in a wheelchair after the games. Like I'm talking just feeding it to me for 6 hours. And then he gets hurt in the first series. We're sitting in the stands. The people are just relentless. And I tried telling him, like, hey, listen, I'm here for Brock. I'm not the biggest I'm a 49er fan because of him. So like, it's okay now. And they didn't stop for 6 hours. And it was painful in the game. You know, it was what the game was. They had injuries. It sucked. That was really hard. And then for like different reasons, you know, just from being, you know, badgered for as long as it was. And I respect those fans. Like those guys are as passionate and crazy as anything I've ever seen. And then the way, you know, that the game ended in the Super Bowl, and I was with Kolar, who played here as a tight end for the Ravens, and they had just lost in the AFC Championship a week before and should have won that game and gave it, you know, it went the other way with the Chiefs, and it was a heartbreaking loss. So him and I are sitting together, you know, we were cheering for Brock, who we love, and we sat there until the stadium was pretty much empty. And I think part of it was us, like, you know, it could have been the Ravens that if they were in it, that would have won. And, you know, the Niners were so close and they should have won. And like, it's hard to watch somebody you really care about be so close to, you know, the pinnacle of football. And yeah, it was they're both not fun situations to be in. And this is the only Super Bowl I've ever been to, and it was cool. I'm not excited. I don't know if I'd ever like go back to a Super Bowl if I wasn't watching somebody that I love playing in it, but they both stung pretty good. But we got our butt kicked in the Big 12 championship pretty bad, and that one hurt pretty bad. I ate 20 chocolate chip cookies on the way home to try and eat my feelings and feel better, and it didn't make it any better. So,
but you did have this, like, it's all on the line. Down by a score, fourth down. You were the second best fourth down conversion team in the country last year. But at a high volume, you guys were 20 of 25 on fourth down last year, which I don't know how many of those were sneaks. But here you go, and you decide. Was there any question in your mind? Does Coach Campbell get in your head and it's like, Taylor, we are sneaking this ball?
Not really. Like we're on the headset and we're talking about what we want to do, and we had hung our hat a lot on that sneak. Like the UCF game was the last play, and we snuck it in there too. And I mean, what Jared Hufford, our center, did and what Rocco was able to do and the mindset that it takes to be good at it. And this one, like, credit to Coach Clint, our line coach, like, we came out of the huddle. It was between this and running, I think, G lead, and we're like, we've had success. We haven't got stuffed on a sneak the whole year. Like, it's the last play of the season. Like, if we're gonna go down, like, let's go down with what we've had success with. And Coach Clinton told none of the O-line to get in 4-point stances, meaning, put all, both their hands down. So it didn't necessarily look like a quarterback sneak set that we normally would do. And then we motioned Jalen here just as like a dummy motion. So that was really like a pre-snap adjustment that Coach Clinton did that I think really backed the defensive line off a little bit, because you don't necessarily feel like they're super cued into a quarterback sneak here either. So that was a great adjustment that he had. He's one of the best O-line coaches in college football. And yeah, like, Rocco's just so determined to score. Like, I felt like we had a good chance, but certainly one of those moments where you're like squinting and can barely watch it.
I mean, if you're teaching, it sounds like that the Kittle juice run, like, there's a lot of high school, or I guess a lot of college freshmen, sophomores, now transfers, it's everybody, juniors, seniors, coming in and getting Kittle use check run game as teach tape.
Yeah. And like, the thing that no one talks about is just like the chemistry that those guys have and their ability to play off each other and play off overhangs and just, juice check, reading Kittle's block and make it right. And Kittle can just run off the ball in rage and like try to eat somebody's face right at the line of scrimmage. And if it doesn't work, he could just move, keep going, and, juice check will block that guy. Like, it's hard. Like, we've worked it. It's hard to replicate. And they're so good at it on that outside zone toss stuff. Like, it's art. It's beautiful stuff it gives them. It's the gap runs that they run, which that's, for the most part, our philosophy in the run game, and what we've hung our hat on is almost, somehow, some way, a lot. And we got under center more than we ever had last year. Part of it, we had Tyler Roll from North Dakota State last year that was on our staff. And part of it was just the film study of what, teams like the Niners do. And that's where I'm excited to see what the Rams look like this year with, they drafted Ferguson, and, I'm hoping to see them playing some more 12 personnel, because that's where we hang our hat, and that's what we're going to do, every year here. So it's great to watch them, because how unique they are with personnel, is who they put in the backfield, how they motion people. They start in the FSL, which in the NFL, you don't have a ton of FSL like you do in college, but they're very rarely letting the defense just stand flat-footed and read their keys.
What's FSL?
FIB, whatever you call it, formation the sideline. So if you're on the left hash, the passing strength starts into the boundary, and then from then on, you get to what you want to get to.
Have you, Mel Kiper went on this rant the other day during the draft about how nobody knows how to scout. Like, and I thought back to something Kyle Shanahan said a couple years ago. He said, his quote was, "There aren't 32 people on the planet that can play quarterback at an acceptable level."
It's true.
I thought it was a great quote, because, like, I think both those things together just highlight how hard it must be to project quarterback play, whether it's you doing it, and you were the director. I think, were you assistant director of scouting when Brock was coming out of high school? So you scouted Brock a lot.
Yep.
What did you see? What was impossible to know? The Niners famously say they had a 3rd-round grade on him. Brian Greasy loved him.
Yeah.
But like, just put us, how much of this stuff is luck, and how much of it is situation? How much of it is actually predictable, you think?
Well, I think the first thing that we loved about Brock when we were watching his high school tape, and he went to my rival high school. Our high schools are on the same street. For us, when we watched him, like, the compete that he played with and his ability to extend plays was really ahead of his time, I think, for what you were watching at a high school level. And what he did, taking Perry High School to a state championship, hadn't been done at the school before. So that guy was truly going above and beyond. He made everybody else around him better, which is what you want your quarterback to do. And then at the same time, there was an accuracy that's hard to find, and like a timing and ball placement. Like, he was making, the high school hashes are even farther apart, and he's making field dropout throws on 4 verticals and field hitch throws. So he had arm strength. And the thing that helped us out a lot with him is he had mono the start of his junior year. So a lot of his junior tape didn't look as good as it probably should have. And he still had incredible numbers, but I think people question how, could he rip the ball? But a lot of that was because he was sick. So I think that slowed his recruitment down and helped us, be able to get our foot in the game when we did later his senior year. But very rarely did he just stand in the backfield and wait for someone to get open. Like, he was, his high school coach, Coach Jones, Preston Jones, is a high-end high school football coach. They're running real stuff. They're not running, waggle right and, just movement passes. Like he played in the shotgun and they threw it a lot and he had to make plays and he had to go through progressions. So he was coached at a high level from a really good football coach in high school. And it was good to see him run real concepts and make real throws.
By the way, one more question on that call sheet. So are you typing that up or you got an offensive QC doing that? How does that come together?
Yeah, we have a QC here. Last year was Kyle Kemp, and this year Ryan Gent, who does a good job of helping me organize it. Like he's smarter than me in every level and has like algorithms that we can put on we have like a wristband template that pulls the stuff into the call sheet. So I could type the number and then it'll auto-populate it onto the call sheet. Because, Thursday night for me is, a lot of it's meeting with Rocco during the day and then kind of just organizing this. That way, during the game, you could find it a little bit easier. But it looks different every week somehow, some way, depending on what we're running and who we're playing against. And everyone's got a different one. Everyone's call sheet's different. Like you see the little, like there's coaches that have just like the little piece of paper and can call it all off the dome and have it all memorized. Like I can't do that. I have to like spend the whole game looking at it with one hand on one play if it works, another hand on another play if it doesn't work. And then, same thing situationally, second down. Here's the first down play if we get it. Here's the third down play if we don't get it. So it is a fun challenge, but I have to have it so it's very mapped out for me to be able to do it.
I mean, on year 10, you'll be doing it off the dome.
I don't know. We'll see. I was working at Little Caesars Pizza before I was coaching football, so I'm not exactly an Ivy League guy.
One menu item there, $5 pep.
That's right, 30 pepperonis, 8 ounces of cheese. I'm your guy. If you got any Little Caesars questions too, feel free to reach out.
How much is the $5 pizza now?
Well,
$8 inflation?
It's gone up a little bit. It's a sad deal, but I mean, like anything else, there's inflation, and the thing that makes it the price of cheese. When the price of cheese goes up, that's when the price of pizza goes up. And when the price of cheese goes up, that's because the price of feed's going up. You want to see an angry Little Caesars pizza owner, you ask them, they're going to be pissed off because the price of cheese is up, I guarantee it. Probably same with any other restaurant. You get the price of cheese goes up, they're getting pissed because nobody wants to see the price go up, but the cost is up. So if you had that hot box empty at Little Caesars and there wasn't hot and ready's fresh in there, you were gonna get yelled at by somebody, the manager, the owner. They were gonna give it to you. So I could take a good Little Caesar beat down and then could come here and get yelled at by Coach Campbell. That's like one of the things that people ask me, like, man, you played at Adams State, but you've had some success there. Like, what makes you, how? I'm like, I'm the best you've ever seen at getting yelled at. No one's better than me at getting yelled at. I can get yelled at better than anybody.
Is that just a yes, coach?
Oh yeah, yeah, coach. Or like I'm good at like. It's hard for people to take ownership now and apologize. Hey, coach, that was a bad call, man. I'm sorry. We'll get it fixed.
Yeah.
Argue, and that doesn't mean that we don't have our moments, but yeah, I'm good at getting yelled at. And she could still be better at times. But
I love that. I love that.
Caesars.
I love that skill.
Yeah, it's a skill. More people need to be better at getting yelled at.
I heard I saw, the YouTube algorithm. I don't know what does the YouTube algorithm feed you? Is it a lot of film study stuff maybe, but
yeah, it is.
Well, golf instructional videos.
Yeah, there's a bunch of weird stuff on the O staff room that will like just pop up, like old school. There'll be like a quote someone drives, like, oh, let's watch like the middle of a day on a Tuesday just to get the morale right, or like you guys see whatever anonymous play Monday Night Football, it gets pulled up. So it's a crazy algorithm of like middle 2000s movies, comedy movies, football stuff, golf videos, music videos. It's our YouTube algorithm is all the way sideways.
I got one the other day. It was some Jeff Bezos talk from I don't even know when, and he said the thing that nobody ever. I do a bunch of interviews. Everyone always asks me what's going to be different in 10 years. No one ever asked me what's going to be the same.
Yeah.
In 10 years. So I'll ask you that. Like everyone's always talking about trends, evolutions. What will not change in offense or quarterback play in the next 10 years, or football for that matter? What comes to mind?
Yeah, to try to not be so broad. Like, I think there's been variations of, the zone run game, but like everybody in their offense has forever and ever has had counter and power. Like, I don't think you'll ever see any kind of, I mean, you can have different variations of that stuff, but those are like as staples in the run game as even if you're not like a zone team, everybody has like an inside zone, which that won't go anywhere anytime soon. Like you've got people that run like duo or inside zone instead, and the debate there. But yeah, old school, put the ball down and run power and block down and kick out will never leave football ever and ever and ever and ever, regardless of the scheme or the trend or the tempo or the personnel. And it kind of, I mean, some of the air raid stuff they kind of tried to, but at the end of the day, it still circles back and you see people get under center with fullbacks. And it kind of felt like you weren't going to see it anymore. Like when especially in the Big 12, like when we first got to the Big 12 in 2016, nobody played with tight ends. It was all 10, 11 personnel and open. And now everybody plays with tight ends in this conference. So it's been fun to watch the conference evolve.
Yeah, I mean, Harbaugh drafted your H-back, fullback.
Yeah, Clots, yeah, Steo Clots. He's one of the best on the ball blocking tight ends we've ever had, but he's the best off the ball backfield guy. Like the success that we were able to have with the A-gap power last year and the G lead stuff. And I mean, that you talk about a guy that eats nails. He came here as a walk-on linebacker and just completely bought into everything that this program's about. And you talk about a guy that'll die for Iowa State, like that guy will go and do it. And like an all-four special teams guy, like we ran a fake punt to that guy. Like just he's a dog. He's old school football guy. He's like a football guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's beautiful.
Good for him, man. Like we'll see where college football goes in terms of walk-ons, but it's just incredible to have a guy like that go to the NFL. I haven't checked your schedule against the Niners schedule yet. Are you going to make it to a Niners? It's probably tough on a bye week, huh?
Yeah,
I have to be week 1.
I know. I don't know. I certainly would love to. It's what's been nice about 2 years ago those guys having. I mean, with them and the Ravens and the success that they had postseason, I was able to go to those games. As they made their runs, and they'll be back just because the core of that team and the culture is at such a high elite level that they'll make it back. And my wife loves Brock and loves Carrie and Sean and Chubba and Whitney and the whole family. So, certainly would love to get around them, even if it's not for a football game. There's just not like a better group of people to just be around and play ping pong against or pickleball against or golf, whatever it is. Like they're good people and fun. So can't go to a game, looking forward to being able to, bust Brock and Chubba and those guys chops a little bit just about anything and everything, because they're fun guys to make fun of and get after.
They do play at Matt Campbell's Browns this year.
Ooh,
poor Matt Campbell.
Yeah, I'll be
raising a family of Niner fans now.
I know. Well, me and all Coach Campbell's kids and Erica, his wife, we'll all be cheering for the Niners. Campbell might be the only one cheering for the Browns, and really he'll be cheering for Brock.
You got a bunch of, for people who aren't watching this, you got a bunch of plays scribbled there on the whiteboard behind you. Mad scientist. I hope calling plays is more fun for you this year.
Yeah, we'll see if it comes on. But yeah, I couldn't get on and have a blank. That I just drew that stuff up to make you guys think that I actually know what I'm talking about in football. If I had a blank board, people get mad at me. That stuff's all just nonsense doodleage. But fake it till you make it, guys.
Taylor, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you.